Hello, everyone. I'm Simon Ford of Ford's Gin. Martinis, gin and tonics, Negronis, great classic cocktails is what I'm about. But I also love to hear from great bartenders from around the world, which is why we've partnered with Beyond the Drink for this season. Cheers.
Well, you just heard from the man himself, Simon Ford, and we're glad this season of Beyond the Drink is once again brought to you by our friends at Ford's Gin. I'm Cappy, and in this series, we're going behind the bar. It's time to explore the journeys of the world's best bartenders, uncovering their passion, the latest gin trends, and of course, the social impact they make in their community. Beyond the Drink airs every other week, right here on Beyond the Plate. If you're new to the pod, welcome. If you've listened before, we're glad you're back. Let's go Beyond the Drink. Cheers. Today's guest is one of Chicago's, and I'd say the world's, best bartenders. His bar was one of North America's 50 best bars in 2024 and 2025. You can find more on him in the episode notes and follow him on Instagram at AbeVUC. Please enjoy this episode as we go beyond the drink with Abe Vucekovich. Hi, Abe.
Hey. How's it going?
Abe, I'm curious. So you started, I was reading your very humble bio. You started washing dishes at a cafe that I actually used to go to quite often when I moved back to Chicago from New York. And now you lead some of the world's best bars. When you look back at that journey, which hasn't really been too long, does it feel surreal or does it feel like the result of years of hard work paying off?
So I started washing dishes at a place called Floriole in Lincoln Park. Sandra and Matthew were wonderful to just take this random guy. I just walked in. I went to DePaul, and it's pretty close by. It's like first place I go in, and I get a job. I'm going to start working. I taken a year off work and traveled a bunch towards the end of college, and was just discovering myself. And they're like, "Yeah, we need a dishwasher." And I was, living my wannabe writer lifestyle, and I was like, "First job I'm going to take. I'm going to just grab it." And so I found myself washing dishes, and I feel like I'm still doing the same thing. A lot of dishwashing, a lot of finding creative ways to make things clean and put things in the right place and take a lot of chaos either in my brain or around me and try to organize it and get it ready for service. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
Are there things you learned from Sandra at Floriole? By the way, incredible place. It was one of my go-tos when I moved back to Chicago. Are there things you learned there as a dishwasher that you still think about or have taken with you?
Yeah, there's a time to schmooze and there's a time to wash dishes. I learned a lot, like how to hold a knife walking in the kitchen, how to walk up to somebody while they're working the line, how to find, how to let things air dry, how not to scrub a Catalame copper mold with soap and a wire brush, how to actually let it just sit in hot water and clean it properly, and how to respect the different things that are put into dirty dishes and how best to respect the dishes themselves and what to sit and bleach, what not to. I mean, there's a lot of things that I tend to have a chaos brain, and it really taught me how to take a breath, find each dish. It sounds really stupid, but each dirty dish, how to really plan for expediting what gets clean, what can wait a second, what the back of the house needs, what the front of the house needs. And, for a bakery, washing their dishes and what they use, it can get quite sticky. And yeah, I learned a lot of respect for what people do and each of the stations and how much time and effort it takes for the overnight bakers and the people who open the barista station and how to work with different kinds of. I mean, I learned so much, and it was really good for me. And I still think fondly upon. Sounds weird being a dishwasher, but it was a lot of mindfulness going on for sure.
Totally. You don't really think of that, but a lot for sure, as you explain some of those various components. So tell everyone what you do now.
Yeah, so right now I am what is called a beverage director. Recently now a bar owner and bar operator for a new place in West Town, but recently have and still am at a place called Meadowlark in Logan Square. And there's two adjacent restaurants. I also help with the creative side of their beverage programs. But at the Meadowlark, I helped open it with ownership there, helped build a team, train them, and came up with a little bar that has conceptual menus that change about once a year, whatever theme we come up with, and we workshop. So yeah, it's opened. Our 3-year anniversary is coming up pretty soon.
That's awesome. Very cool. So tell everyone how you got there. After Floriole, what was next?
So about a year dishwashing on and off, they realized I think they wanted me in the front of the house and get me out of the kitchen. I started working as a barista. Then I did some handyman work and whatnot for a couple of years, and then found myself as a hostess was my hiring paper at a place called the Violet Hour. My roommate got me a job. I had just been through a bad breakup. He's like, hey, look, they're looking for someone to be a host. Can you come in? They hired me. Started working the next day. Like, this place is pretty cool. I can't really see anything. And then became a food runner, and then was running French fries during this big event that was happening that night called the James Beard Awards that we were up for an award. And I was like, who is James Beard? Is he going to show up? Does he have a great beard? Like, I knew nothing.
Did you care about cocktails at all at the time, or was this just a job?
Yeah, this is like late 2014, early 2015, and I was really a Miller Lite Jameson guy. That was like the extent of how much I cared. But seeing how much they cared, and I was really intrigued at what was going on literally behind the curtain. I was just hustling. It was a job, but was really into how into it everyone was, and how into what people were making the guests were. But this night specifically, the James Beard Awards, when we won and we had been nominated, it had just recently been even a category at the James Beards. The place was just electric, and all these people were coming in, famous people. I don't know who they were, but they were all so happy, so excited, and it was super busy. They were short-staffed, of course, and I ended up barbacking that night. Didn't know what I was doing, trying to stay out of the way. And then that night, they were like, hey, can you start barbacking tomorrow? I think somebody got fired or something. And that night, I was just like, this is really cool. Look at how happy these people are. And something just clicked, like just the vibe and the happiness of just the creativity that people were doing. It was really cool. And I was like, oh, I kind of want to sip on this Kool-Aid with everybody. So that was the beginning of it. And then I just started barbacking for about 3.5 years. Back then, it was very much, you had to wait for someone to die to get a shift. Nobody died, but I just wait for someone to move on or get a bar manager role somewhere else.
Were you starting to become more intrigued by the making of the cocktails and whatnot?
Yes, and kind of like when I was a dishwasher too, the people who were training me, everyone was very gracious with their time, but they're like, okay, yes, you want to learn more, you want to learn how to make these drinks, but learn how to be a really good and excellent bar back. Still to this day, my favorite job ever is bar backing, and that was a big bar to bar back for. Learning how to be ever present but almost invisible, and none of the bartenders were in want. There was no dishwasher behind the bar, but there's 4 wells, and you had to run all the glassware to the back and stock everyone and everything. 36 drinks, and everything had like 7 to 12 touches. It was just insane. I had lost a lot of weight just running around, but learning, like being very intrigued during these like 14-hour shifts at seeing what the heck they're putting with these droppers into the cocktails, but really finding the magic in supporting a bar and seeing what was going on. And then when we were closing, and I think as like you had to earn by just crushing a night service, like, hey, do you want to come? I'm closing up my well. Do you want to come and make a daiquiri? Or do you want to come and make a Sazerac or a Vucekovich and make a classic drink? I'm going to walk you through it and talk about these ingredients. And every night I asked different bartenders, I would pick a drink and I would just say, hey, show me how you would make this. And I just learned a lot through that process. Then there's a training program that goes on. Then they select 2 people, typically a server and a bar back, to train 2 people at once. And it was a 6-month training program, 3 times a week during the day to train to bartend. It was a little much. Like these days, it's very easy to become a bartender. But I really appreciate it going back because I think I rely a lot on talking a lot and schmoozing people. But it was really had me sit down and find mindfulness again and the actual craft, learning about the drinks. And Toby used to say all the time, every drink, no matter how simple, you're trying to tell a story to a guest. And it was a really cool, fun experience.
That's cool. And you mentioned you were doing writing when you had started your first job there at Floriole. Would you say your writing plays into your work right now? Because I heard you say there's different themes for menus and whatnot, and I've read some stories about some of the things you've done. Does that, I don't want to say scratch that itch, but come into play?
I like being creative, and writing was a wonderful. Yeah, I think so. Storytelling, and it's almost like it's a very like 1% of people are reading like the New Yorker or the Atlantic's poetry. It's like a really privileged thing to be into. And even if you're pretending to understand what the writers are saying or to enjoy those poems, they're just sitting on coffee tables. And it's not really, the frustration I had with writing is like, this is for what? For who? It's for me really, but I don't really get to see people enjoy it. But I think creating cocktails and creating cocktail menus has been this chance of like, oh, you can create like this almost inclusive, people can come in and be a part of the storytelling with you, and you can see them partake in it. So I think in that way it scratches an itch.
What inspires you for those themed menus?
Yeah, so at the Meadowlark, after being at the Violet Hour for like 8 years, I got them through the pandemic, and I was really tired. I wanted a break, and I took a break. And then this opportunity came, and the guy had already picked the name for the bar, but there was really no concept of what it would be like. It's going to be called the Meadowlark. It was the owner's like favorite bird as a kid. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? And I was like, why don't we just like Trick Dog and Little Red Door, these bars that I've been to that were really inspiring. They just rotate themes. I'm like, let's do a thematic menu. It's not just dependent on seasons. I don't think Chicago really has anything like that outside of Next, and how can we do that with cocktails? And the first one, I was like, well, let's just do like a field guide to birds. It's called like so many bars in Chicago and restaurants, it's a bird name. And let's just do a field guide to birds and put pretty Audubon pictures in the field guide and have drink ingredients underneath. And somehow there's a connection there with the drink ingredients, and it worked and it made sense, and people really were digging it. So yeah, I don't know why I did that, but it made sense to me.
Yeah. And is it one theme a year you're doing or multiple?
At first, we really wanted to do like ownership really wanted to do a couple a year, but it just takes a lot of work, and it's tough for even guests to enjoy it through that span of time. So to really do a good job, we've been doing one every about 10 to 13 months. Depending on it. The second menu we stretched it out a little bit because it won a best menu award, and we wanted people to enjoy it a little bit more. But yeah, it's been nice, honestly, to have it not changed too much.
Yeah. What's the theme right now?
The theme right now is called Ad Astra. It's planetary bodies in our solar system and our outer solar system. So it's been fun. I hyperfixated on outer space pretty hard. Watch a lot of documentaries.
Really? That's so cool. Can you share a cocktail or two that come to your head?
Sure. So one of them is the Moon. The first menu, I did all the drinks because there was no staff. It's a lot easier now because everyone gets an assigned drink or two, and then they workshop with me on the drink to refine it and to have it fit into the menu. So I gave all the bar team the main planets, and then I took all the moons and like the dwarf planets and the smaller things. So one of them is the Moon and for that, I really wanted to do one of my favorite songs is Blue Moon. Elvis sings it. It was my closing song actually as service bartender to get people out. And it's like a really moody, perfect drink at like 3:00 in the morning. And wanted to make so I used blueberry feta whey foam in this drink. And, the moon is made out of cheese, Wallace and Gromit popped in my head. It's like upcycling something or side cycling something that the kitchen would otherwise throw out. Otherwise, got Tricol, Condissas, prickly pear gin, some orgeat, and it's like this wonderful, reminiscent of an egg white drink, but the color is really fascinating. The moon is so colorful. We think of it as just this, white thing typically, but it changes so much. So yeah, that drink is fun.
Do you have a go-to cocktail yourself? Or I know you said you were a Miller Jameson.
Yeah, Miller Lite and Jameson. Yeah. I mean, there's a time and a place, but I would say, yeah, I really love, if I'm having a cocktail, I do really love every bartender says a daiquiri, but I really love Vucekovich. It's really wonderful to me, and I love it up. And I think it just really represents how, these days, I'm sure you're aware and people have seen it quite a bit, but the trend has been to take a very culinary approach to making cocktails and showcasing drinks and using so many cool techniques, whether it be clarification, washing, rotovapping, air, what have you, right? All very cool and very useful and really pushing the envelope. But I still really appreciate when so much flavor comes from the spirits themselves and you're just cooking it with water. And there's something so delicate and perfect when it's done right and it's well balanced. The temperature of the glass is perfect. And it's a centering kind of drink for me. I really appreciate it because it does bring me back to less is more, let the spirits do the work. Don't hide behind necessarily techniques or showy stuff, as I just talked about, blueberry foam, cheese foam. But you know what I mean? It's one of those oh yeah, this is what we're doing. We're putting things that have flavor together and making it the sum of its parts in a drink.
Is there anything exciting to you these days? I'm curious about in the world of gin specifically, or like the world of bartending in general.
What's exciting is I think people are using spirits like gin, but gin particularly, and just simply infusing gin with additional flavors and components. And I really love when it's done with upcycling things like citrus husks or garnish that's been sitting out. We've done that on occasion, and I really love to see when that happens. Or seasonal fruits are used in gin. At my new bar, Friends of Friends, it's a little bit different, but still kind of thematic storytelling, much more dive bar-esque and simpler. We have a gin cocktail that's been rotating with seasonal fruit. So it's been fig, now it's pear and lavender. And we just really use the gin to extract flavor and highlight what's already in the gin. So that's been really fun. I like to see that. It's simple, but beautiful.
All right, Abe. So our listeners on Beyond the Plate and Beyond the Drink, they know we celebrate social impact and with every guest, no matter if it's a chef or a bartender. We know you all are incredibly generous in your own way. And I would be curious if you can take a moment and shed some light on a certain cause or organization that you may want to raise awareness for. Could be an event, could be something meaningful to you, could be both, could be neither.
I'm from Chicago. Born and raised in the city, went through CPS, didn't have a lot of food, I was a free meal kid kind of person. So I really appreciate what No Kids Hungry does and all the events that they do and it's this event that a lot of chefs are a part of to raise money for kids who don't have food. I think that not only is there so much waste in restaurants and bars, but the news is, we talk about all this stuff. Let's feed the kids, and I think that it's just, again, the most grounding thing we can just think about. It's like, can we feed the children in this country? I really appreciate everything they do, and I try to participate in all their events that they do. So really, if you see anything that they do a big event with the Green City Market, and they do a big event on the River Walk every year. I don't know if they're going to do it again.
Taste of the Nation?
Taste of the Nation, yes. I really recommend if anyone can go to any of their events, spend the money or donate if you have the means. It's really meaningful and impactful.
I appreciate you sharing that. You did not know this, but I'm actually on their National Leadership Council. So
cool.
Appreciate your support and everything you do and shining a light on that great work, because I couldn't agree with you more. There's millions of children in this country that don't have enough food to eat and don't know where their next meal is coming from. So you taking the time to go to an event that raises funds for that cause is so helpful. So
it's really nothing. I think it's really, the more that we can talk about it and more we can share awareness and not just give, but we can make impactful changes in just locally in our city and country, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So, Abe, we have an audio newsletter called Heard, where I share a few things that are on my plate at any given time. Sometimes it's a recipe, a restaurant, a product or ingredient, could be something philanthropy related, but I would love for you to share something on your plate that I can feature in one of our forthcoming Heard episodes.
Yeah, I think that while we're on the topic of things of impact and waste, I've been trying for a while to figure out ways to not be wasteful. And it's just so dang expensive. It's quite tough to manage just from a P&L standpoint, even from a service and going through the motions. So here at Friends of Friends, we compost. We have to pay extra to recycle glass. The compost company gives us, Waste Not is a wonderful company. They do stuff for your home, but they do also stuff for our restaurants and bars. But I would love to see the more restaurants and bars utilize services like Waste Not, the more it becomes more affordable for everybody. So, I really encourage people who have something that they could take away, or if there's a little extra margin that they could spend towards take away from something that's maybe not as important, and spend a little bit more on paying for composting and for recycling and using ingredients more than once, I think is, again, not just as an optic thing, but really we're so wasteful. It's, I think, very, very important. The more I can hear about it and learn from other people how to creatively do it would be great.
It's actually a topic that comes up. I'm glad it comes up, because I think, to your point, as you say, on some of these things, more people talking about it and creating awareness about it, I think is a good thing and hopefully makes them think. But it's been, comes up in the chef space, but equally I see it come up just as much in the bar space too. I wish it was just a thing that, to your point, wasn't mentioned as a buzzy term, but it's just what we did.
It's like going back to, I guess, some things I learned as a dishwasher, or what a lot of people learn back of the house or support roles in what we do, but it's, no one's ever going to care. No one's ever going to know, really, but it's like the principle of not being wasteful with water, with what you're using, with everything. It's just almost like a mise en place with our waste. And I think that it's something that should be just simply done. And that's it. And I wish personally that there was more infrastructure in place and support in this country, and, to get political, but whatever. Our tax dollars would go to things like this, to help us with this kind of stuff. But
Well, appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know you've got a lot going on, and really grateful for this entire bartending community and having these types of conversations. Before we head out, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, ABE, Abe like the president, DUC. Also at Metalark Chicago, Instagram, and then FOF Chicago, Friends of Friends, here in Westtown. Exciting new place, big back patio, fireplace, pretty good cocktails, and a lot of Schlitz if you're into that. You'll see me here most of the time these days. But yeah, just popping around Chicago, probably cleaning something.
Thanks, Abe. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Find all social media links for myself, Beyond the Plate, and Beyond the Drink guests in the episode notes and on beyondtheplatepodcast.com. As always, big thanks to the whole Beyond the Plate team. Don't forget to join us back here next Wednesday for an episode of Beyond the Plate, and every other Monday right here for Heard, our short audio newsletter where I'm sharing what's on my plate, from culinary insights to restaurants and recipes, all in just a few minutes. And if you have a moment, we'd be grateful for your support by rating, reviewing, and even hitting that subscribe button to the podcast. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Drink, a production of Beyond the Plate. I'm Cappy.